Great to have Jordan Campbell from The Athletic with us today to discuss all things Arsenal. Jordan, a disappointing result for Arsenal midweek this week in Europe. What's the reaction been like in North London to that loss to Lens?
No, it was definitely disappointing. I don't think it's anything to get too worried about. It's still early days in the group. Obviously, they got off to a great start against PSV, so they'll be thankful, obviously, that there's time to come back. But it's probably not what they were wanting going into such a big game in the league against Man City. But it's been a solid start to the season. They're still bedding in 3 or 4 new players, and up until midweek had been unbeaten. So I think it's been a strong start, and I don't see a blip during the week, causing them to go off track. Lens are a very good team, and I think they were really physical. And Saka going off was a big blow, and then a mistake for David Raya, letting them back into the game. So these things can happen in a group game, but I think it might cause a few more nerves going into Sunday's game.
Obviously, the goalkeeping mistake you just touched on there. Has the signing of David Raya unsettled the club in any way? Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale was primary number 1 last year, and Raya's coming in, and it doesn't look like he wants to sit on the bench.
No, I don't think either of them want to sit on the bench, so I think eventually something will have to give. Mikel Arteta's stance has been ever since he came in that I can have 2 number 1s, and that I might be reinventing the wheel in terms of how we view goalkeepers. But let's be honest, it's only ever really happened once, and that was with Ter Stegen and Bravo at Barcelona, and that only worked because they won the treble. One got the Champions League, one got the La Liga. So far, it's not really looked like that since David Raya's come in. It's quite clear that he is his number 1. And obviously Ramsdale's helped the club get into the Champions League over the last couple of years when they've been building. So it's a big blow to him, especially with the Euros coming up next summer. He would want to push Jordan Pickford, and that's not going to happen if he's not playing. So I don't think he's going to be too happy that he's been pushed onto the side. David Raya had been solid. Possibly at fault for Spurs' first goal in the derby when he was clambering back, and then obviously his kicking during the week was a bit sloppy for the goal, but he has been really solid, and he's kicking. He's so calm on the ball. I think that's been an upgrade in that department, and in terms of coming for crosses as well. So he has shown why Arteta's gone out to get him, but it was a bold move to go and bring in a number 1 when you've already got someone as established and basically the same age as Ramsdale.
John, you've spoken about Arteta trying to, bed in 3 or 4 new guys. One of those new players this summer is, of course, Kai Havertz. What have you made of his impact so far in North London this season?
I think he's really yet to get going. Obviously, he had the penalty last week, which was basically laid on a plate for him with his teammates, Odegaard, and the fans really trying to get behind him and hope that would really, ignite a fire in him. But during the week, again, it was back to the sort of tame, safe play that we've seen from him. Maybe it raised a few eyebrows when he came in, when Arteta wanted to use him as a left 8 in the midfield to replace Granit Xhaka, because obviously last year at Chelsea, for various reasons, he was used as a number 9 or a false 9, however you want to call it, but he was used as a central forward, really. So to try and convert him into more of an all-rounder was a bit of a shock. But I think most people thought the one reason it might not work is because he's a forward and he might not have the athleticism or the fight to go and win the battles and take control of games the way Xhaka helped Partey do last year. But that's actually the only thing that really people have been clinging on to so far, which is not really great for a £65 million attacker. You'd be assuming that you'd be talking about his attacking play, but a lot of the time it just looks like he's lacking confidence and he's just going for the safe pass. He's very rarely driving with the ball, and I think they want to try and capitalise on his ability to attack the box. But he, bar a couple of games in pre-season and the first couple of games of the season, that sort of dried up. So I think they're still trying to search for a solution. But it wouldn't surprise me if they move him up top at the weekend, because he done really well in the Community Shield against Man City as a bit of a target man, because he is good in there. But yeah, it still feels like a little bit of a square peg in a round hole.
Jordan, just finally on Arsenal, you're obviously in and around the club, you get the feeling of the fans. Can Arsenal win the Champions League? Is that what they're pushing towards? What is the realistic ambitions for Mikel Arteta this year?
Well, I'm sure they would take one if they could take one trophy, the Premier League or the Champions League. I'm not sure which one they would pick, to be honest, because it's been 20 years since they won the league and they came so close last year. But you look at the Champions League and you think there are not that many teams there who should be stronger than Arsenal. Premier League's, the last couple of years especially, has really, solidified itself as the strongest league in Europe. So I think if they can get past the group stages, I think they'll really fancy themselves, because apart from Man City, Real will always be a threat. I don't see too many teams that are as well rounded and have strength in every department, the same as Arsenal. Again, the one thing you maybe have concern about is, do they have that killer up front? Gabby Jesus is a great player, but I don't think he's an absolute killer who's going to score you 20, 30 goals in the league. But his Champions League record is brilliant, to be fair. He's got 1 and 2 for his time at City and Arsenal. So I think they've got all the ingredients to go really far. But I guess the question is, can they do it on both fronts? Can they go for the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Champions League, the way that City and Liverpool have done over the last couple of years? And that'll be the test of how good the recruitment was in the summer, whether they've got that depth now.
Just one extra one before we go. Jordan, before you started covering Arsenal for The Athletic, you of course covered Scottish football and more specifically Rangers there. Currently without a manager, who would you like to see take the hot seat at Ibrox?
Wow, it's a curveball he's thrown in there. To be honest, I would like to see them appoint a sporting director before they appoint a manager. I think that was a big mistake when they brought in Beale. They brought in Beale when Ross Wilson was still there, but when he left in the summer, I think they should have made that appointment a priority. But Beale was quite happy to take so much responsibility, and I think the club ultimately gave him too much to take on. If they'd maybe just let him concentrate on the coaching, rather than giving him a sort of, all-saying power on the recruitment, then they wouldn't be in this position. But maybe it was looking at what Ange Postecoglou did at Celtic when he had a lot of control, and thinking that Beale was the man to replicate that. But it's a very risky move when you give a manager close to 50 million to spend on players. So I think whoever comes in, it's going to be a difficult job, because there are some players who have signed who don't look like they're the right fit. So yeah, I couldn't tell you a name, but that would be my strategy. We get a sporting director in and then let them make the appointment, so that you don't appoint a manager, then you appoint a sporting director who doesn't see that as the right fit, because then you've just got no alignment in the club. And it's back to the days of Kai Havertz when that happened at Rangers. I thought you presumed they would have learned the mistakes of that, but clearly they haven't.